Okay, so talking next to Google App Engine. So Google App Engine is like it's a framework provided by Google, so wherein you can develop, deploy web applications on Google infrastructure. So as it says that it's very simple, it's very easy to build a simple application. You can deploy it very easily on the same infrastructure that is used by Google. That means you have access to their data store, their proprietary database system, which is the big table, and apart from that, other infrastructures like the network speed, the bandwidth, the memcache, and all those things. So talking about the application environment, what are the application environment that any Google App Engine application has? So any application, it needs to have some kind of a memcache so that it can perform fast. Any application needs to have some kind of a data store. It needs to perform some kind of queries on the data store. It needs to perform some transaction related stuff. So all these things are provided by Google App Engine. So you don't need to worry about, okay, this particular feature was available in my last framework and this not available in App Engine. Of course, there might be some restrictions because we work on a scalable architecture. We use Google's infrastructure wherein possibly millions other applications are working. So there has to be some limitation, but the limitations are, you can very easily harass those limitations so that they are best for you. And then there's the sandbox environment wherein every application has their own environment wherein an application can execute. So that environment is very secure generally. So you are very sure that your application cannot access any other application's data, even though all of them are on the same like infrastructure. And any application can work only when there is a HTTP or HTTPS request coming from a web browser, or there is an HTTP or HTTP request. Apart from that, an application can also communicate via email. And then runtime environment, the App Engine was initially released with the Python runtime environment, and after some time they also released the Java runtime environment. So for the Java guys, there has been a lot of what you can say, confusion about what is Java runtime environment. So the Java runtime, in Java runtime environment, it's not just the Java. It's about any language that gets compiled to Java runtime environment. So in that terms, it's probably even possible that you can use any different language, non-Java, but which gets compiled into Java to get your programs executed on Google App Engine. But we'll be talking about Python runtime environment here. So. And in the Python runtime environment, pure Python modules are provided. All the standard modules which are there in Python, they are inside the Google App Engine Python runtime environment. And one thing that is important is that only pure Python modules are supported. As in, if there is module which has a C base or C++ base or something, so they are not supported. And you can also add your modules as long as they don't violate any other modules or standards, as in the C or something. And then the other thing in Python runtime environment is that the file system is read-only, so you cannot write into the file system. Whenever you have to write anything, you have to write it in the data store only. You cannot write anything or create any temporary file or anything like that into the data into the file system. And then comes the data store. So data store is the most important part because it is what is built on top of big table, and big table was proprietary, and for a long amount of time the big table was used only internally by Google for all their services. So with App Engine they have exposed their part of their big table, which is called the data store, to be used by other people as well, other developers, for creating applications. We'll talk about data store in more detail as we